What's up, y'all? This is Acquania Escarne, and this is The Purpose of Money, a channel where we talk about all things money and how to build wealth $1 at a time. Today, we're going to talk about the power of a health savings account. So stay tuned to find out how you can use this tax-free vehicle to save money and cover your medical expenses. Hey guys, welcome. I'm super excited today to share not only a personal story, but an awesome tax strategy that can help you put some more money aside tax-free and cover those medical costs you are going to have to pay for anyway. We are talking about the almighty powerful HSA, also known as a health savings account. A health savings account is a type of personal savings account that you can use to cover your healthcare costs. It allows you to put money aside tax-free. Why? Because the money goes into the account before it's taxed, and then you get to withdraw it tax-free too. So you are using tax-free dollars to cover medical costs you were going to have to incur anyway. I love HSAs because they lower your taxable income today. And if you're a high income earner, that is what we're trying to do, right? We are trying to pay Uncle Sam as little as possible. And if we're going to pay for medical costs anyway, why not get a tax break while doing it? But there are a couple of catches. For one, this is only applicable to those who have a high deductible health insurance plan. So you gotta pay a high deductible normally in order to qualify for access to these plans. So most high deductible plans might have lower monthly costs, but in the event you use your insurance for a hospital stay or for medical treatment, you might have to pay more out of pocket costs before the insurance kicks in. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't consider this, especially if you have a family, dependents, and someone who you know is going to need some of this money and you want to get the tax break while you're at it. So real quick, here's my personal story. I've been using health savings accounts for years to cover my massages and my kids' co-pays when they go to the doctor and any other medical costs that come up that we know that we're going to have, because let's be real, we have kids have accidents and they have routine appointments, and we are adults aspiring to be our healthiest selves, so we also go to the doctor, right? Well, recently my football playing son decided to jump and try to block a field goal, which he did very well. But unfortunately, his feet were taken from right under him and he landed on his arm instead of his feet. Let's just say after hours in the emergency room and x-rays, we realized he broke his arm. But that $250 deposit that the hospital asked us for was able to come out of our health savings account. So we actually get issued a card that looks like a debit card or a credit card, and it is tied to this account that every 2 weeks when my husband gets paid, he puts money into this account, and then that money is for us to use whenever we need it, including for hospital bills. And it can cover co-pays, allergy shots, medications, you name it. As long as you use the money in an HSA for a qualified medical expense, it remains tax-free for you. And that is the best thing we can ever think of. That's how you live tax-free. That's how you lower your tax bill. That's how you really use and leverage your money. But you have to understand that it's important to make use of this money. So that's why, God forbid something happens, this is the emergency fund for your medical expenses. This is where you should be pulling the income to cover those costs. But if you have other things that you want to do that are good for you and are also covered, make sure that you are using your HSA for them, but make sure that they qualify. So doctor visits definitely count. If you go to the ambulance, hearing aids, prescription drugs, doctor emergency visits all count. But you just want to make sure you are monitoring your money well, right? Because that card has to have money on it for it to be spent, and you want to make sure you don't overspend. So what I tend to do is I will check the balance on the card before each transaction just to make sure we have enough to cover the outstanding bill. And that way you are not using your monthly cash flow or anything else to cover ordinary medical expenses. But here's some of the other benefits. So I already told you about the no federal income tax, right? So you're gonna get this money, it is put on your HSA before it gets to your bank account, and you get to avoid taxes on the money even after you spend it, as long as it's on qualified medical expenses. But they also don't have an expiration date, so you don't have to use this money by a certain amount of time. It can actually grow with you up until retirement. Can you believe that? Being able to have this bucket of tax-free money. So that's a really good benefit, because there's no pressure to use this money by a certain date, which allows you to really focus on what do you want to use it for. Is it LASIK surgery? Is it a surgery that you weren't expecting? However you want to use it. Then you get to use it for yourself, your spouse, or your dependents. So it's good for everyone. It's good for everyone in the family, as long as it's a universal qualified medical expense. And here's the best thing of all. Unlike life insurance from your employer that normally cannot go with you, HSAs do not go away just because you change jobs. You can actually maintain a health savings account for your entire career, and you can switch jobs as often as you like, because switching jobs does not automatically change your HSA just because your employer has changed or you've retired. So one of the benefits to leveraging this money is that it grows. It gives you that instant tax-free deduction in the current year, but then it also gives you that tax-free spending when you spend it on qualified expenses. But there are some limitations. If you're only covering yourself, you're limited to about $3,850 in 2023 and $4,150 in 2024. If you're covering a family, you can spend up to $7,750 in 2023 and $8,300 in 2024. If you are over the age of 55, you're also eligible to do a catch-up contribution of an additional $1,000 for each tax year. So 2023 it's $1,000, 2024 it's $1,000. But you have to stay within these limits, otherwise you are going to be taxed on the excess. So don't exceed those, but most HSAs won't even let you put in more than that, so you should be good. You have the ability to take money out of your HSA up until retirement. As long as it's from qualified medical expenses, there's no penalty. However, if you use this money for something that is not a medical expense, it will automatically qualify for a 20% tax penalty, and you will also need to pay the associated income taxes that you would have paid had this been put into your checking account. Okay, so let's make sure we follow the rules, use our HSA for medical expenses we're going to incur anyway, and use it as our backup emergency fund for medical costs. The good news is, if you take funds from your HSA after 65 for non-medical expenses, you do not have to pay the 20% penalty, but you will have to pay the income taxes. So this is another way to save more money for retirement, save more money for your medical expenses in retirement, lower your tax bill today. And if you decide later, because you get health care from another source, or you don't need to use the HSA on medical costs, you are allowed after the age of 65 to take this money out without a tax penalty, but you will have to pay federal income taxes on the income. And it would be based at the income rate at the time. So whatever your tax rate is at the time you take out the contributions. So just keep that in mind. I definitely think this is a great vehicle for saving your money, and in some cases it's even investable. You can invest some of it, earn a little bit of interest, and also be saving for medical costs. But that's going to be in a part 2 video. If you want part 2, say so. But let me tell you, I've been leveraging HSAs for quite some time. I love it, and I think you should be using it too, especially if you are a regular person who gets massages often or other medical care that's also good for you. So keep this in mind, and let's keep my son in prayer because he's still healing from his injury. Until next time, guys, keep building generational wealth. Make sure to drop in the comments any questions you have. I'll be sure to get back to you. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe and share it with a friend. Bye-bye.